Welcome to r/entitled people, where we share stories from your lives about people who think the rules don't apply to them, and they should get what they want. Thank you, friends, for subscribing to the channel, and for so many likes. And today we have 3 great stories, so subscribe, hit the like button, and let's begin. The first story, entitled Father Threw a Tantrum, then sued the company and lost. The second story, they tried to trick me into getting my business plan, but they couldn't. The third story, I made my SH boss millions, and when I quit, he started threatening me. The first story is an EP accuses a taxi driver of being the reason why his precious adult child passed out drunk and missed her curfew. This is a situation my father had in 2013. He was a taxi driver for years, and after this happened, he immediately quit and became a truck driver. It was Saturday night. It was well past midnight, so already Sunday around 3 a.m. My dad had just driven one person home when the dispatcher called him. 3:03 a.m. my dad receives the destination and fare. Disco club, redacted. 2 women, one of them Anna. 3:08 a.m. my dad's at the entrance to redacted. 3:12 a.m. 2 girls enter my dad's car, one of them Anna. Around 25 years old, both, and also both drunk as hell. Anna gives 2 addresses to my dad. First her apartment building, then her friend's house. 3:20 a.m. the car is at the first address. The other girl says that she has money to pay the full fare, so Anna leaves the car. She's very drunk and insecure on her feet. There's no light at the entrance to Anna's apartment building. My dad uses the headlamp of his car to shed light at the entrance to Anna's building, so that she can find the keys, open the door, and so on. This is a common practice among taxi drivers. Always make sure that a woman arrives at the destination safe and sound. 3:25 a.m. the car leaves the first address and heads for the second. 3:32 a.m. the car arrives at the second address. In the meantime, the second girl passed out. If there wasn't for this first stop, the total time to drive from redacted to the second address would be less than 10 minutes, by the way, and it's relevant for the later events. 3:33 a.m. my dad leaves his car, locks all the doors, and enters the courtyard. This is also a standard procedure. If your fare is unconscious, and even more so if the fare is a woman, do not touch her. If you're at her destination, call someone from there to pick her up and pay for the fare. If there's no one at the destination to help you with her, call the ambulance or police. So my dad knew that it was Saturday night, that they were at a disco and had a lot of drinks, and he had no reason to call the emergency, at least not before he tries to get help from a family member. 3:36 a.m. the girl's father opens the door. Cast, EP, entitled parent. MD, my dad. EP, who are you and what the hell are you doing here at this hour? MD, I'm sorry to wake you up, sir, but I'm a taxi driver, and I've just driven your daughter home. EP, my daughter? Where is she? MD, she's in the car passed out. Please bring her in and put her to sleep. She'll be sober in a few hours. EP, but she's more than 1 hour late. She should have been here around 2. MD, sir, I received the call from the disco club at around 3 a.m. Dropped her friend off along the way, and here I am now with your daughter passed out in my car. Please come to the car to take her in and to her bed. EP, what did you do to her? Still standing at the doorstep and accusing. MD, nothing. I drove her here, home to you. I'm a taxi driver, that's what I do. EP, but my daughter doesn't drink much. She would never allow herself to be so drunk as to pass out in a stranger's car. MD, sir, she and her friend were already drunk when they entered my car at redacted, and I'm not a stranger, I'm a taxi driver. EP, she must have been given something. MD, sir, I don't know anything about it. I received the call around 3 o'clock to pick up your daughter and her friend at redacted. You should ask your daughter about it in the morning when she sobers up. Please come and take your daughter out of my car and settle the fare. Tomorrow you can speak to her and her friend, who'd confirm everything I said. EP, she called me around 1:30, and she didn't sound drunk at all. She told me she'd be home by 2, and 2 hours later she's unconscious on your back seat. MD, I received the call from redacted only at around 3 a.m., sir. You can ask your daughter tomorrow when she wakes up what happened at redacted between 2 and 3 a.m. But right now you should bring her in. I'm not allowed to have any physical contact with my fare, and she can't get out of the car by herself. EP, you're obviously lying because you're telling me you needed a half an hour to get here from redacted. MD, what? I never said that. EP, yes you did. You said you picked up my daughter and Anna at 3 a.m., and now it's past 3:30. MD, I received a call from redacted after 3 a.m. and picked them up at 3:10 or later, and I also dropped Anna off at her address along the way here. Sir, my car has a GPS tracker, and you can check my locations at any given time during my shift. You can call my dispatcher and ask her for the timestamps. She'll send it to you first thing after I've made sure my fare has safely arrived at her destination. EP, no, she hasn't safely arrived at the destination. She's unconscious on your back seat. MD. Because she had too many a drink, sir, before she entered my vehicle. That's not my fault or responsibility. I would have helped her out myself if I could, but I'm not allowed to touch my fare. EP. As I said, my daughter would never have too many a drink by herself. I want to know what was given to her. MD. Then bring your daughter in and to bed, and in a few hours when she sobers up, ask her what happened at Redacted or in my car. Ask Anna and my dispatcher as well. But right now I need your daughter out of my vehicle before she throws up or something. EP. I'm not going to contaminate a possible crime scene. MD. Sir, there's no crime scene in my cab. Only your daughter who needs help to get out of the vehicle and into her bed. She'll be fine after some sleep. She's not the first fare to pass out in my cab during a ride home. It happens and it's not a big deal. The important thing is that she's home safe and that you can check the last 30 minutes of my shift if you want, with no problem whatsoever. Now please help your daughter out of my car. EP. I'm calling the police, sir, you know? MD. Please do. 10 minutes later, there were 2 policemen at the door. In the meantime, the lovely daughter on the back seat of the cab made a huge mess all over the place. The policeman called my dad's dispatcher and in less than 1 minute established that my dad was totally innocent, that he did the right thing by asking the fare's father to help him with the passed out woman. They told the father to bring the daughter in and then told him to leave my dad alone. The man was furious, but had to do what they told him to. However, the story didn't end there. 2 days later, my dad's boss received the call from the EP. The boss already knew what happened that night. EP. I demand the fare I had to pay refunded, as I'm going to press charges against your driver. Boss. On what account, sir? EP. For molesting my daughter. I've already spoken to my lawyer. Boss. Feel free to do that, sir. I hope your lawyer informed you of the fact that we have timestamps for the vehicle in question, and the entire case can fire back on you hard, sir. EP. My daughter doesn't even remember that they called a taxi and that she ever entered your car. Boss. Your daughter's loss of memory is irrelevant, sir, as the video surveillance at the entrance to Redacted confirmed that your daughter willingly entered the vehicle with her friend at 3:12 a.m. on Sunday, and I'm sure you already know that your daughter's friend herself called our dispatcher from her mobile phone. EP. My lawyer told me that your drivers are responsible for their fares and their well-being while they're in your car. Boss. Exactly, and the only thing my driver did wrong was ringing at your door instead of calling the police immediately. He didn't want your daughter to spend a night in prison to sober up, and wanted to avoid an embarrassing situation for her. So he made a mistake and asked you to help your daughter out of the car. EP. I'm gonna sue your ace for this. Boss. Be my guest as I already said. And for the record, we're not gonna refund the fare. We'll send you a fat invoice for the car cleaning services, and for the 24-hour loss of our vehicle and fares we lost thereby. Indeed, it happened as announced by both parties. The EP sued the company and lost epically. The company won, and the invoice at the end of the story was even fatter, and now included legal costs and all possible fines the judge could add to it, to teach the EP an important lesson about responsibility and false accusations and disrespect. My dad decided to become a truck driver, as truck drivers never have to deal with drunk fares or entitled parents. The second story is, I was tricked into doing chief marketing officer work for nothing. I used to work for a company that sold extended warranties for cars. Yeah, I was that guy. Give me a break. And I was terrible at the job. I felt SH every day about trying to trick people into buying a scam, so I did my job poorly until they teased me with an offer. I have certifications in microcomputer applications, and they wanted me to apply that to marketing tactics. I whipped up a nice-looking spreadsheet and a PowerPoint on basic steps needed to market online, and they told me that they really liked the work. They took me out to a nice restaurant, an Applebee's, paid for my meal, and we discussed strategy. Turns out I knew a lot more about corporate marketing tactics than they thought, because beforehand I spent a week cramming info from $1,200 lessons that I paid for, thinking it was an investment for my future. They told me they really liked everything I had to say and gave me a month, unpaid, to outline a top-to-bottom marketing strategy, and if I came back with something they liked, they'd promote me to CMO, Chief Marketing Officer, and give me $500K a year. I was 22. So of course I was over the moon about it. I paid for more classes. I didn't sleep for 2 weeks because I wanted it to be perfect, and I made an incredible plan for them, filled to the brim with gold nuggets on how they could be the best extended service contract provider in the nation. I had it down pat, all on one USB drive. My meeting with the execs came around, and there I was sitting in a room full of millionaires to go up in front of a projector and explain how we're going to do this. I spent 3 hours explaining everything I learned and how we were going to take over the industry just by marketing better than any other company did. And we could have with this plan, I'm certain of it. I knew my stuff, put in the time, effort, and money. After the presentation, they all got up and clapped, started shaking hands and talking to each other for a bit, and then remembered that I was there. The CEO and owner promptly looked at me and said, "Look kid, it won't represent well to have an early 20-something in a cheap position," so he hired a marketing firm and promptly fired me. I went to reach for the flash drive and they told me that it was company property and I wasn't authorized to take it. They were trying to steal my plans. I argued that it was my flash drive, but I gave in because it doesn't matter. But they didn't know that I had all the contents locked with a password that was only on my personal computer. 20 characters long, randomly generated, no differentiating L's from I's, special characters enabled. Password strength meters estimate that it would take 5 billion trillion years to crack it. So of course they call me. First they try a friendly approach, buttering me up, telling me how great the work was, how much of an asset I was, etc, etc. I don't give them the password. So then they get mad at me, telling me that I'm a worthless piece of SH, and that the company's better off without your stupid plan, so you might as well give us the password. I do not do that. They left me about 15 voicemails yelling at me, sweet-talking me, offering me next to nothing. Mostly more Applebee's dates, and I do not give in. It's been 3 years since then and they never got into that flash drive. And the last story is, I made my boss over $1.5 million in commission over 2 years, while I made $45K a year. I worked my A off for this man, essentially running his entire book of business for him. For Christmas, he got me a $25 AMC gift card. The closest AMC theater is 1.5 hours away in another state. That peeved me off and made me start looking for other jobs. I genuinely cared about my job in the account, so I waited to accept a job offer until I had trained someone else to do my job. When the time came, I met him in his office and told him that I had accepted another job and that I was putting in my notice, but to not worry because I have someone already trained. When I told him that I had accepted a position with another company in our field, but would not be doing the same thing so it wouldn't violate my non-compete, he called our chief legal office on speakerphone while I sat there. The CLO tells me that I cannot even mop floors at a company in our field for at least a year. The CLO adds HR to the call and HR tells me that since I won't be pursuing my new job, they're going to let me work 2 more weeks to make sure the handoff goes smoothly, and then I'll be fired for looking for other jobs. They asked me for more details as to what I would be doing at my new job, and I told them I wasn't going to discuss it. After I left, the CLO of this company, a company who brings in $6 billion per year in revenue, called me randomly for the next few weeks trying to intimidate me. They even started contacting my new employer. Luckily, I don't work for an SH company now, and the CEO got involved and told them that they would be ready to fight this in court. They stopped contacting me after that, which meant they never even planned in taking me to court. They just wanted to scare me into quitting my new job. F companies like this. We don't have to put up with this SH anymore. Company is Total Quality Logistics. Edit. This was 3 years ago. I'm with the same company that I left my previous job for, and they've given me the budget to start a division of the company that directly competes with my previous employer. I still have that AMC gift card too. Subscribe, click the like button if you want to support the channel. Thank you for watching.